Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first Sunday in March, but no, we're already in the second Sunday of March. My name is Mike Vosich. I'm the music director here at First Unitarian Society. We are delighted to have a guest speaker today, Greta Gaard, who will be introduced soon. And the month of March is about paying attention in our thematic kind of overarching info kind of theme for the month. So we have a lot of intersectionality going on here. We have it's International Women's Day today. It is Sunday about ecofeminism. Yay! Yes. Hey. So Greta Gaard's going to have a message on ecofeminism and the paying attention. So we have kind of these intersecting ideas, and we're going to try to reflect some of those ideas in the music for today. So we have our Chalice Choir here with us. Woo! Thank you, Chalice Choir. All right. And we're going to have three selections. The first is by a local composer, a woman named Elizabeth Alexander, who writes a piece. She has a lot of great UUA material. This one is called Do Not Leave Your Cares at the Door, which is basically an invitation to be open to everybody here with your feelings, and basically, the paying attention is like, pay attention to your feelings. Don't be scared to share them. We're all feeling a lot of the same things, and we're here for each other. So that's our opening tune. And then our own Jacob Mullis is going to come up and sing a Marvin Gaye song about Mercy, Mercy Me, the ecology. So that's an exciting addition to our morning today. And then we're going to close with a new composition called The Little Creek, which is just a sweet kind of transcendentalist kind of thing of getting out into nature to really find yourself and being connected to kind of get recharged by going down to the Little Creek. So that's our music for this morning. We have Amos Lucidi here to play with us. Thank you, Amos. And we're going to begin with Do Not Leave Your Cares at the Door.
So welcome to First Unitarian Society on this lovely March 8th becoming spring day in Minneapolis. Welcome to each of you, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your pronouns, however you identify, whoever you love, whatever is breaking your heart. Present in body in this space, present in this moment with us, also online. You are welcome here. It's good to be together and to gather together as a community of seekers in this place where we commit ourselves to live out our common values, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, safety, and justice for all beings. As we gather, let us attend to the need to walk humbly upon this land, the traditional land of the Dakota Iote, recognizing the history of genocide and colonialism and their right to justice and self-determination. May we be good allies, advocates, and partners. First Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. My name is Mickey Morissette, and I'm a congregant here in my, I think, 12th year. I'm joined today by our special guest, Greta Gaard, who I became acquainted with in my capacity as publisher of Minnesota Women's Press. I'll share more about her later. As we know, the Chalice Choir is offering music with us, and we want to recognize the leadership of and the support of the amazing media team. Thank you. All ages are always welcome here in this space. We have a spot in the back today for them, for children, and I invite you, wherever you are, including those online, to take a moment to welcome the morning and to greet those around you. So each week when we gather, we light our chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. We are led by its light, inspired by its flame, and drawn together by its warmth. We often light our chalice using words expressing our values and aspirations. Today, we'll use words about our values in interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. We reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will... Okay, we'll end it there. There is more, but we're good. All right. So now that we've lit our chalice, let's share in reading our congregational covenant. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. All right.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing song number 354. If you're following along in the gray songbook, we are doing 1, 2, and 4, verses 1, 2, and 4.
First Unitarian Society is a congregational humanist community. We are here for each other, our neighbors, and our planet. And one manifestation of that is our caring team. My name is Suzanne Sehusen, and I'm the staff lead for this team. Joy and sadness, celebration and hardship coexist in our lives. Through all of it, we need one another. If at any time there's something happening in your life that you would like to share with the care team or with the community, or you need some support or would like a visit, please call the FUS office, send a note using the QR code on the screen, or click on the link that's provided in the Friday Update newsletter. Note that we suggest you use this link rather than the previous email address. After the assembly, you're invited to stop by the card basket downstairs to send a note to folks you're especially thinking of today. Today, I share that this coming Wednesday, March 11th, Lena Hunt will be celebrating the big milestone of being 2 full years seizure-free. We celebrate with you, Lena. New member Wendell Refor has retired after 45 years of programming and clinical drug trial analysis. He looks forward to recreation and travel with his spouse, Marla, and study and teaching the works of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Congratulations, Wendell. And the escalating war in the Middle East is wreaking havoc in the lives of millions of people who are being killed, injured, and displaced. It is heartbreaking to acknowledge our government's role in fueling this conflict and the broad impact it is having on the surrounding region and around the world. May there be peace. I invite you now to speak into this space the names of those places and people that you are holding in your heart. Let's take some quiet time together to breathe, to connect with our shared humanity, to feel the solid earth beneath us, and to remember that we are not alone. In the silence, you're invited to reflect on all the joys, losses, and griefs, and milestones that you hold in your hearts. May all those we love and all beings everywhere be at peace.
Today's reading was selected by Greta and comes from Susan Griffin's essay, Split Culture, which was excerpted from her chapter in a book edited by Judith Plant called Healing the Wounds, The Promise of Ecofeminism. Here is some of what Susan wrote. There exists a culture that is not alienated from nature, but expresses nature. The mind is a physical place. The mind is made up of tissue and blood, of cells and atoms, and possesses all the knowledge of the cell, all the balance of the atom. Human language is shaped to the human mouth, made by and for the tongue, made up of sounds that can be heard by the ear, and there is to the earth and the structure of matter a kind of resonance. We were meant to hear one another, to feel. Our sexual feelings, our capacity for joy and pleasure, our love of beauty, move us toward a love that binds us to an existence. If there is a sound wave anywhere on this earth, if there is the sound of weeping or of laughter, this reaches my ears, reaches your ears. We are connected not only by the fact of our dependency on this biosphere and our participation in one field of matter and energy, in which no boundary exists between my skin and the air and you, but also by what we know and what we feel. Our own knowledge, if we once again possess it, is as vast as existence. There you are.
Whoa, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be, no. Oil wasted on the ocean and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be, no, no. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are dying. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. What about this overcrowded land? How much more abuse from man can she stand?
Now I have the privilege of introducing Greta Gaard, who is a newly retired professor of English and women, gender, sexuality studies at the University of Wisconsin in River Falls. She created an anthology titled Ecofeminism, Women, Animals, Nature, which positioned multi-species justice as fundamental to ecofeminist theory. She has co-edited several books about ecofeminist literature, international perspectives in ecofeminism, and anti-oppressive teaching in higher education. She wrote an article in 1997 titled Toward a Queer Ecofeminism, which sparked what would become queer ecology. Her monograph about critical ecofeminism led to her position as a Fulbright scholar in Germany in 2022. Her work has been translated into Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and Portuguese. She's currently developing an ecological research memoir in the tradition of Rachel Carson and Sandra Steingraber, exploring connections between environmental toxins and cognitive decline in humans. You ready?
Okay, thank you for having me here. I wanted to acknowledge the way that friendship sparks our thinking and our activism. The woman pictured on this first slide became my best friend. Her name was Jeanne Conley. We met in 1992 in Duluth, where I was a beginning assistant professor, and she founded the Lake Superior Greens. She was active in the International Joint Commission on the Great Lakes. She was a vocal environmentalist, a member of Grandmothers for Peace, and a protector of Lake Superior. She died in January 2025 of cognitive decline. And so I'm on fire for that, to see what else can be done. The next slide on this, or the next image on this slide, is the group of us that she took to the International Joint Commission. So these are the Greens from Minnesota, and maybe you recognize Walt Berzett there at the start, because we were working with indigenous communities to argue for sovereignty, at least on their own lands. So Jan is right behind Walt in the red jacket. And on the next slide, you can see what Jan's attitude towards wild things is. It's release, let it go, let it be, let it live. So I honor her. When I spoke to Mickey about this talk, she said one thing that women around the world have discovered is that the harder we work toward progressive values and understandings, and the more we achieve through our work, the more pushback we face. Yep. Okay, so we could stop there, but I have a whole talk. All right, so just to remind all of us that women around the world, and men, and others, are working for the survival of all of us. And the story that's commonly told is the Chipko movement in India, which lasted about 10 years, 1973 to 1983, and it began with women defending the trees that were being cut down by loggers. Now, this was not a romantic movement. The trees provided food, fuel, fodder. Yeah, they liked the trees, but this was an acknowledgement of material interbeing. That's the reason the women stood. And then these other photos are the 10-year commemoration to acknowledge their work. On the next slide, we see someone you probably recognize, Wangari Maathai, founder of Kenya's Green Belt movement and winner of the Goldman Environmental Prize in 1991. She was the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize. Kenya's Green Belt movement was devised by women farmers who had to work against the corporate seeds that were being distributed even at that time, and to create shade. So again, not a romantic movement per se, it was a movement for survival and to get their crops to grow, that they planted the trees, and now it's known as intercropping, in order to save their plants. I do want to say that for her successful Greenbelt movement, Wangari Maathai faced severe violence in the Kenyan state. She was beaten unconscious by police, tear-gassed, and arrested multiple times. She suffered injuries, bleeding from head wounds during a 1999 protest against land grabs, where she was attacked by security guards with weapons. She was jailed many times, like Ken Saro-Wiwa, if you know that activist in Africa, Nigeria, including an overnight stay for leading protests against the government. She faced death threats. She was forced out of her office. She was publicly vilified by officials who labeled her a traitor. Despite these attacks, Mathai continued her advocacy for the women, for the land, for food. And she eventually won the Nobel Prize for her contributions to sustainable development, democracy, and peace. So that's the pushback that we hear. And usually, you know, when we encounter adversity, it's like, oh, maybe this isn't the path. Not for these women. It's like, this is the path. We're going. Okay. The next slide, please. Petra Kelly, co-founder of De Groenen in 1979 and the 4 pillars of the International Green Movement, which we started here in Minnesota, a Green Party, and in Wisconsin. Ecological wisdom, which means the wisdom of our interbeing. Social justice, which is required for our connections to be mutually nourishing. Grassroots democracy, listening to people all across the ranks, and nonviolence. So these lovely pictures of Petra Kelly here. You know, she and her partner, Gert Bastian, pictured here, were found weeks after being murdered in their home in Bonn, Germany. Petra Kelly was what Greta Thunberg is for today's climate kids, a figure of hope. She fought against the patriarchal authoritarian state, the arms race, nuclear power, and uranium mining. She spoke out for the rights of Native Americans and Indigenous people in Australia, for political prisoners and the politically persecuted all over the world. She met Joan Baez. Yet it's not well known that Petra Kelly was the most threatened politician of her time. She was systematically stalked around the world by U.S. extreme right Lyndon LaRouche organization members. At the time, there was no public awareness of right-wing violence. Her violent death by gunshot at close range while she was in bed in the middle of Bonn, and the myth of a double suicide with her partner, Gert Bastian, all seem, and this is like classic blame the victim, all seem permanently etched in our collective memory. All of this makes her story a tragedy and continues to overshadow her real political achievements. Next slide, please. Berta Cáceres was a renowned Lenca Honduran indigenous leader and environmental activist who founded COPIN, the National Council of Popular and Indigenous Organizations of Honduras, in 1993. She led a grassroots campaign against the Agua Zarca Dam, slated for construction on what the people considered a sacred river. Construction was pushed through without consulting the indigenous Lenca people, in violation of international treaties governing indigenous people's rights. The dam would have cut off their supply of water, food, and medicine, and violated their right to manage their land. Berta pressured the world's largest dam builder to withdraw funding for the Agua Zarca Dam. In 2015, she too was awarded the prestigious Goldman Environmental Prize. In 2016, she was assassinated in her home. Next slide, please. So there's more women than we can discuss in our time today. A few people on this slide that I am going to just move beyond. Winona LaDuke. You live in Minnesota, you know about Winona LaDuke. Aurora Castillo was where I was growing up in Los Angeles. She formed the Mothers of East LA, MELA, because a garbage incinerator was being put by an elementary school. That's what grandmothers do. They're like, not my grandchild. Nope. Vandana Shiva, internationally famous for Navdanya, the movement of seed protection. Let's see what I have, Feminists for Animal Liberation. So this is an early 1982 organization started in San Francisco by Marty Keel. And it's looking at the way that our interspecies relations model the way that we treat nature and the way that we treat devalued other human beings. And so it's a different way in to that kind of understanding. So my talk today, that was the intro, was going to go through 4 steps. And these steps were proposed to me by a scholar at Rutgers, Charlotte Bunch. And she said, here's how you do it. First, what is the problem? Be sure that you're defining the problem accurately. Second, how did it start? What are the forces keeping it in place? Third, what do we want? And fourth, how do we get there? So I might cover 3 of these and leave you to think about how we get there. So the next slide, please. So what is ecofeminism? Ecofeminism is a self-identity that is interconnected. Women started it because many women who become pregnant are really physically aware of that inner being and how that flows. But all of us are aware of that inner being as well. Please stop breathing and see how it feels. There it is. It's in every moment of our experience. What we're seeing, what we're breathing, what we're eating, what we're drinking. We are part of a flow. And to survive, we have to be part of a flow. It's also about empathy, that is understanding that other beings have needs, have feelings, and that we're connected. It looks at ecological, social, and environmental problems as interconnected, not as separate things to look at. So our society organizes like the environmental groups, the political groups, the women's groups, the men's groups, the queer groups. And when we do that, if we're not building coalitions, our analysis and our power is not as far-reaching as it could be, because it's not just our problem, whatever group you're a member of. It's not just that group's problem. So ecofeminism says we really need to work across these differences. And so it's an approach to identity and organizing that defines what are called wicked problems. I remember encountering this term and thinking, what in the world does that mean? And to scientists and scholars, it means that they can't solve it. So it's not anything with the problem, it's a problem with the perspective that's being taken. So it offers an approach towards solutions by centering our differences: race, indigeneity, gender, sexuality, age, ability, class, nation, environment, species, as we look at what is a wholesome way to live together. Next slide, please. So let's think about our wicked problem today. We have climate change. We have species extinctions. We hear about it, we stop hearing about it. We hear about it, I mean, it comes and goes. We have a rigged economy where, what was it called? It's called the wine glass economy. I remember in the WTO in 1999 that the smallest percentage is at the top and the majority of people are at the bottom, supporting the rulers. Hard to think about the Middle Ages and the king and the serfs and the peasants and how that worked, but it seems like we haven't really advanced beyond that. Our so-called democracies have failed to respond to these linked crises. Every year, the Council on the Parties meets to discuss climate change. What changes? The elite decision makers exclude the knowledge, data, and participation of those who are most affected. The next slide, please. So why is this an ecological and feminist issue? It's feminist because women, children, elders, people of color, and third world nations are most affected. So the people with the least power are those that are most affected by climate change. And women are underrepresented in decisions that affect our lives all across the board. When women get in, they tend to be wealthier. They tend to have more education, more prestige. I have been a part of many organizations since meeting Jan Conley in 1992. One of them was founding the Women's Environment and Development Organization in Miami, Florida in 1992. And this was Bella Abzug and Mim Kelber, who were the lead people. We had women from all around the world, Wangari Maathai, lots of really great people. And yet it was a top-down founding, which was a huge surprise that we were going to be in the same kind of structure, only there were just women at the top this time. Some women are nodding. Okay, next slide, please. So I want to look at Euro-human self-identity because that seems to be the predominant vision in Upper Midwest. So who are we and how do we define ourselves? Individualism is a very strong component of Euro-human self-identity. It's not centered in indigenous cultures. The separate self is not centered. We do it. Relational identities are centered in other than European cultures. And this problem of equality or hierarchy, Elizabeth Dodson Gray, who I got to meet and interview years ago, explained to me that hierarchy means a holy order. That we think that The pyramid structure of this is natural, but it's actually layered on with the view that this is what God wants, is this kind of structure. And so this is how people at the top, like clerks, knights, a family ranking, a traditional heteropatriarchal family ranking, and our view of the macrocosm itself, from God, angels, people, animals, plants, and soil. If your soil isn't healthy, nobody's eating. So we have it backwards. So let's see, next slide after that, please. So how did human behavior and social structures create climate change? There's three main explanations. The first is the materialist explanation, Carolyn Merchant's book, The Death of Nature, Women, Ecology, and the Scientific Revolution, points out that the Industrial Revolution, the Scientific Revolution, feudalism, which extracts wealth from the farmers and gives it to the rulers, and then our views of transcendent religions, that God isn't here. When I look at you, there's not God. Somewhere up there. All these views take spirit from the earth, take spirit from working class people, from other species, from plants, and send it up. This is a problem. And it fuels climate change because this earth isn't sacred, it loses the sacred. Cultural problem, the view that more is better, that resources are endless, smart shoppers get the best price, success is money, progress is industry and technology. Helena Norberg Hodge, book Ancient Futures, Learning from Ladakh. So she went to Ladakh. She's a very tall Swedish woman. I was with her at the WTO. She is very tall, very tall. And I can just imagine her in Ladakh, where people are shorter than I am, and how that worked. Apparently, everybody talked to her. So, and what she saw was that bringing capitalism and commodification into Ladakh also brought gender roles. And the boys were more involved with the technology, and the girls kind of backed off. And this stereotypical, what we recognize, stereotypical gender dualism emerged. So, you know, whether there might be some biological root to it, there's also how we interact with the objects in our lives that's shaping who we are. Okay. The third explanation is eco-psychology. And this is kind of where I land. I love this one. There's no concept of enough in Euro-Western culture. There is a rupture in our sense of inner being, so we become discrete individuals. And David Loy's book, Eco-Dharma, Buddhist Teachings for the Ecological Crisis, does really well with this part. The feminism could be augmented, could be ramped up a bit. But what's really powerful here, there's a picture, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's a picture from the Tibetan view of the hungry ghost realm. And so in the hungry ghost realm, the hungry ghosts have very big bellies. They're so hungry, but they have pencil-thin necks. And they sit at a table where they have very long spoons, and they're trying to feed themselves. If they just use the spoon to feed one another, everyone would be fed, but they don't. We live in the hungry ghost realm. Okay, so next slide, please. So how did we get here? We're on part 2. How did we get here? Carolyn Merchant's explanation from The Death of Nature, Women, Ecology, and the Scientific Revolution points out there's this initial rupture that science created when God was removed from the view and everything around us was no longer viewed as sacred but mechanistic. It's a thing that you can take apart. And we learn about how the scientific experimentation said that the cries of animals being experimented on were nothing more than the cries of a clock, the sound of a clock. They couldn't really feel the way that we do. We know this isn't true. How many of you have animals? Next slide, please. Another explanation, I want to point out that these are not competing explanations. They're kind of like gears that fit together. This is the post-colonial analyses that we get of capital, empire, and imperialism. Notably, Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything, Capitalism and the Climate, and Amitav Ghosh, who moved from India to Canada. Can you imagine why he didn't pick the US? The Great Derangement. It talks about climate, I have to put my glasses on for the subtitle, climate change and the environment. Okay. And so here what I have is a map of the slave trade and the plants, the trade in plants and resources. So ivory, gold, spices, hardwoods from Africa, as well as human beings. And then from North America, different slaves, livestock, sugar, molasses, whale. And so the whole gyre of the Atlantic Ocean is moving all of the oppressed groups. That's another piece. Next slide, please. So in our lifetime, there we go, thank you. Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, published in 1962. As you probably know, she was vilified for her work. She was hounded for her work. She did most of her speaking from 1962 to I think it was 1964 while battling breast cancer, which eventually took her life because she went out in the fields where the pesticides were and monitored the birds. She looked at the water, she looked at the insects, and documented that pesticides kill. The farm chemical group here you see on the right portrayed her as a witch. I don't know if you can see her flying on her broom in the background of this cover of Farm Chemicals, okay? And we know that witches are wise women, all right? All right, next slide, please. By 1988, we start hearing from James Hansen. I think everybody in here was alive in 1988 and can remember when we started hearing from James Hansen, scientists telling us that the Earth is warmer in 1988 than at any time in the history of record keeping for Earth temperatures. That was 1988. The global warming is now large enough that we can ascribe with a high degree of confidence the cause and effect relationship of the greenhouse effect, and the simulations indicate we are in deep trouble. There's the graph. We've known this by 1988 for over 100 years. The first person to document it was Eunice Foote in 1856. She noticed it, but she was not allowed to speak at the science convention. She had to hand her paper to a man. Okay, next slide, please. Another factor here is racism. And you just saw the slave trade in the Atlantic. So racism is not simply prejudice, it's economic extractivism. Taking the wealth of freedom, family, jobs that are healthy, choice, all of these things and transferring them. I assume many of you know about the book Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. It's absolutely fantastic and not too long. So just 2 recommendations. So I'm going to move a little quicker here. The dream's parameters were caged by technology and horsepower, but the revolution now is showing us that the dreamers can plunder not just the bodies of humans, but the body of the earth. And the earth is not our creation. The next slide, you see trafficking in natural resources is profitable. $10 trillion in 1860 from trafficking in black humans. Trafficking in women, 150 billion, 999 is just from sex trafficking. Trafficking in animal bodies, 100 billion a year in 2021. And trafficking in the blood of the earth, which is oil. Oil lubricates the plates of the earth. So to take out the oil means we're going to have more earthquakes because there's nothing there to stop the movement, to absorb the shocks. So the next slide, please. So people looking at climate change have started talking about abolitionism as averting planetary disaster means changing our economics. They've started looking at the money. I don't know, were any of you here when Bill McKibben came through, I think it was 2011, and spoke at the University of Minnesota? No, he was really rough on us tenured professors. He said, everybody who's tenured, I want you to stand up. So I stood up. And he said, there is no reason that you are not on the front lines. Your job is safe. Look around. So we did. Naomi Oreskes and Eric Conway's Merchants of Doubt, looking at how tobacco smoke, the rhetoric of, oh, it's good for you, it's not a problem, was then transferred to climate change. Next slide, please. Can we go one more then after that? Yeah. And then species. I really want to bring out the fact that other species who are not speaking in human languages are suffering pain, misery, fear, diseases, tortures, the extraction and murder of their offspring. They're captive for life. The females go in rape racks. They're slaughtered for humans, and they're sold for profit. This is another kind of slavery. It's sometimes hard for people to hear because slavery, it means humans that are not white. It means women. But it also is a large description of how privileged humans treat others. And when we enlarge that description, we can see how vast this problem has become. So what do we do? Part 3. We can have the next slide, please. Girls. Send girls to the United Nations. Okay, we've tried that. Since 2011, Anjali Appadurai saying "Get it done." Severin Suzuki, 1992. Greta Thunberg's "Shame on You" speech. That's the most recent one I think we can remember. We have sent girls to the Council of the Parties of the United Nations. They have been given the opportunity to speak. Nothing has changed. So, in fact, racism persists. Next slide, please. So here is Vanessa Nakate, Uganda's young leader for the Sustainable Development Goals, which are very wholesome in 2020. They've not really been enacted, but they're a great idea. Here's the original photo of her with Greta Thunberg and other young women, and then in the insert, she is clipped out of the photo. So there's only 4 white girls. So she wrote a book. This is not just a problem of exclusion, it's a problem of seeing that if we can't really look at one another for who we are, all of who we are, we're not going to solve this problem. Okay. And there's one more problem, if we can go to the next slide. Toxic masculinity. Okay, I was hoping that by the time you're on the train and you're with me, I can talk about this. So we have a problem with the way that masculinity is socially constructed. That is, male self-identity and self-esteem are contingent on achieving a bunch of things. Separating from anyone they're really connected to, being dominant, conquest, as part of their identity, workplace achievement as part of their identity, their economic accumulation, their consumption patterns, their clothes, their physical strength, their sexual prowess, their meat hunting. Everybody remembers the Minnesota dentist who slaughtered Cecil the lion, went on a paid hunting expedition, okay? Right, well, there's him. And then there's the larger structure of what masculinity demands. How many men in here have been able to resist that to some degree? Thank you. Keep it up. And there's another animation on this slide. Yes. There are ecological masculinities, and my friend Paul Poulet from Australia and another friend from Sweden have been working together to build the concept of eco-masculinity, which is absolutely integral if we're all going to move forward. We can look back to history and see that 3,000 years ago, there's this view of Kokopelli, the hunchbacked flute player, who is the symbol of fertility, symbol of dance, mischief, music. There's the green man, the top left of this slide. And this is, in the cathedrals in Europe. And his face is wrapped in leaves. His mouth is disgorging fruit and vines. This is interbeing. This is ecological masculinity. And then if we go to the east, to India, Krishna, the flute-playing, spiritual beloved of the gopis, the goat-herding peasant women. Okay? So there is precedent for ecological masculinity. There are places to go to cultivate that masculinity. And your biology does not matter. If your gender is masculine, find out what your history is, because it exists. And the last slide, please. A moment from Thich Nhat Hanh. We cannot conceive of the birth of anything. There is only continuation. Please look back even further and you will see that you not only exist in your father and mother, but you also exist in your grandparents and your great-grandparents. As I look more deeply, I can see that in a former life, I was a cloud. This is not poetry, it is science. And I was a rock. I was the minerals in the water. This is not a question of belief in reincarnation. This is the history of life on Earth. This history of becoming. We have been gas, sunshine, water, fungi, plants. We have been single-celled beings. I would add, indigenous communities are not wrong, that this earth is our home and this is our family. Thank you.
All right, please rise in body and or spirit. We are going to sing song 1026 in the Teal book. If you are following along in the book, we're going to do verses 1, 2, and 3.
If every woman in the world had her mind set on freedom, if every woman in the world dreamed a sweet dream of peace, if every woman, every nation, young and old, each generation, held her hands out in the name of love, there would be no more war. If every man in the world had his mind set on freedom, if every man in the world dreamed a sweet dream of peace, if every man of every nation, young and old, each generation, held his hands out in the name of love, there would be no more war. If every leader in the world shared his vision of freedom, if every leader in the world shared a sweet dream of peace, if every leader of every nation, young and old, each generation, worked for justice and liberation, all the days
You guys have the words.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Green. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the treasurer of your board of trustees. And we are in the budgeting process right now for the 26-27 fiscal year. This is the ask, so I ask that you pay attention. First Unitarian is a free, independent, and self-governing humanist community. We are the proud birthplace of congregational humanism. Our mission is to foster a free search for knowledge and meaning, to strive for justice, and to serve one another, the Twin Cities, and beyond. Your financial support means that we can work toward this mission together and is a really important element turning our shared vision into reality. This is a second Sunday, and on the second Sunday of each month, we provide and serve a community meal at Plymouth Congregational Church for those who might not otherwise have anything to eat. Our kitchen volunteers make this happen, and your donations make it possible. Whatever you place in the jar downstairs, or whatever you designate to the second Sunday meal, goes to that food program. There are many ways to give. You can use the QR code on the screen, which will take you to our online giving forum, where you can designate how you'd like your donation to be used. You can put cash or checks into the baskets. You can always stop by the office or mail in a donation. And remember to turn in your pledge if you haven't done so already. As the baskets are passed, you are invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. Thank you.
So we've got more than a few announcements to offer today. I'll get rolling on it. This year we've been highlighting one of our social justice teams every month. Continuing through March, we're highlighting the immediate response team to lift up the many possibilities to engage and contribute at this critical time in our city and in our country. Today we're holding an info session about the immediate response team to talk about its mandate, the possible projects, and how you can get involved. That will be at 12:15 in the Dietrich room next door. All are welcome. There is no Connections Circle gathering this week. It will resume next Wednesday, March 18th. Everyone's welcome to join there in a community dinner from 5:45 to 7 p.m., followed by programming that's the second in a series about humanism as life stance, presented by Audra Kingstrom. All are welcome to participate. This morning was our Ethical Explorers field trip to the Walker Art Center. Next Sunday, E2 will meet in the Chalice Room as usual to wrap up their photography unit on responsibility and paying attention. With a wonderfully growing program, we are in need of consistent Sunday volunteers to help in Ethical Explorers. Please reach out to Zola if you're able to help. The young adults at the Society, which has a nice range of ages from 18 to 40-ish, is gathering outside the Upper Assembly Hall entrance at 12:15 today to walk to a local coffee shop. Next Sunday is the monthly Child and Family Dinner. On every third Sunday for more than a year now, we've met at 5 p.m. in the Chalice Room to spend time in connection with fellow families and youth of First Unitarian Society. The entree is provided. Please feel free to bring a side dish or a dessert. All are welcome. We're also creating a collage to celebrate 2026 Earth Day. The FUS Art Committee will provide paper and art supplies at a table during the mini meal for all the Sundays in March. You can make your creation there or take the paper home to complete with your own materials. The Art Committee will display them in a grid in the upper lobby as our tribute to Earth Day for the April gallery installation. After this assembly, for those that are here in person, stick around for the weekly mini meal, which today features biscuits with sausage patties or biscuits with butter, jelly, and jams, smoked chicken drummies, soy, garlic, green beans, and potatoes, and bow tie pasta with pesto, plus some tofu sliders and more. Remember that the money in the jar there goes to fund the community meal at Plymouth Church later in the day. And if you're not here in person, I hope you have lovely plans to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Take all these things into your hearts and take a moment to soak in all that we have shared today. And let's hold each other in love as the Chalice Choir sings for us once more. So as Jackie comes up, let's say the words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth. Good job. We changed up. Okay, so our closing words, which I do have, are from Susan Griffin. As she put it in our reading today, we are connected by our participation in one field of matter and energy in which no boundary exists between my skin and the air and you, but also by what we know and what we feel. So go out into the world today and every day to share your feeling and your energy. Let's make it so. Thank you so much for amazing
I felt bad, but I wish I had brought you a songbook. Because we're singing and we can see the words. And I know the tune, but that would have been wasted.